All right. First of all, I wanted to thank everyone for joining us. If you're catching this on the replay, we wanted to thank you for catching it on the replay. If you're joining us live, you can comment if you have any questions or you just have some comments that you want to go over. You can definitely put that in the comments section and we'll be able to go over that with you. I'm just checking a couple of the streams real quick to make sure we're going live on those platforms. And then I have a special treat for you that you definitely do not want to miss. All right, looks like we're streaming on those platforms. All right, perfect. All right. First of all, if this is your first time joining me, hi, my name is Rico Glover. I am the host for the Startup Grind Charlotte in Charlotte, North Carolina, and I have the privilege to actually introduce you to a organization that I believe is one of the top notch. And I'm gonna give my story on how I found out about this organization. I didn't even tell the speaker how I found out about them, but I'm going to bring on, let's bring on, and just the countdown is coming. I've got Beth Stultz-Hairston.
Perfect.
Perfect. I was telling her I actually am bad with names. So I said, before I begin, how do you pronounce it? And if I mess up, please forgive me. Charge it to my head and not my heart.
Doing
So,
great.
first of all, I just wanted to thank you once again for taking time out to speak with us. Now, I've got to give my backstory. I don't even think I told you how I found out about Pet Sitters International. You guys and gals and ladies and gentlemen are well known to marketers. I don't know if you know this, but well known to digital marketers. I don't know if you've ever heard of a conference called Traffic and Conversion.
I have heard of that, yes.
Okay. Well, I'm going to give you a surprise. You may not know this. You may or may not know this, but Traffic and Conversion, one of the guys that started it, his name is Perry Belcher.
Mhm.
And Perry is a huge marketing expert, been doing marketing for, he'll say since 1866,
Mhm.
but he's been doing it for years. And he mentioned your organization in a couple of several trainings when it came to associations. He even mentioned, and I don't want to misquote him, but I believe, and my memory is pretty good, but I believe he may have said this is one, from what he's seen, one of the best run associations that he's ever seen. And
I did not know that, but I do love to hear that. So
yes,
thank you for sharing.
yes. So for folks that aren't interested, that aren't don't know much about it, once again, it's Pet Sitters International. Now you don't, and it goes to the website, and I have to put this because I don't want people typing in PSI because they do, they're gonna come up with a training company.
Mhm.
But
Yes.
is PetSit.com. So petsit.com, Pet Sitters International. And from what I've learned, and I'm gonna go in and ask you a couple of questions, but for what I've learned, you folks were actually, if not the first, but one of the first to make pet sitters and dog walkers a more of a, I want to say, a higher level business,
Mhm.
and to get treated like a business. Because prior to, and I know you got the full history, so you can dive into that. Prior to this, most people just took their dogs and cats to kennels.
Mhm.
And as a, I was never a pet. I don't want to say pet lover, but I never wanted a pet. But my wife, when we got married, we were blessed with a Maltipoo that she wanted for a time in her life when she just needed a pet.
Mhm.
And I've grown to love the little four-legged friend. And I found from being a fur daddy that you just don't want to leave your loved one, meaning your pet, with just any old one or any old place.
Mhm.
But I want to ask you the first question: why? And this organization was started, I think, in 1994, if I'm
That's
not
right.
mistaken. Okay, 1994. There was not a lot of people saying I'm going to look for a pet sitter.
Mhm.
For number one, they probably thought it wasn't in dog. So what? Why the idea to actually build an organization like this during that time period, 1994? We were basically giving dogs bones that we got from the stores, and just having them out. So what? Why? Number one, why?
I'd love to share the story. So PSI was founded in 1994 by our founder, Patty Moran. She actually started her own professional pet sitting business about a decade earlier. And so she's considered really one of the first, if not the first, professional pet sitting business in our country. And it started as most business ideas too. As most business ideas do, she identified a need and she knew she had a solution. So she had a similar issue. She had traveled and left her dogs in a kennel, and they had a negative experience, not due to the specific kennel or boarding facility, just because her dogs didn't adapt very well to that environment. And so she kept thinking, there's got to be a better alternative because she wanted to feel comfortable traveling when her pets couldn't come. And so she was working in corporate America at that time. It was in the 80s, or by the economic downturn. She was seeing people laid off. She was dealing with that negativity because she worked in HR. And she had a friend come and visit her from out of state. And she said, I got a neighbor, or so a girl in our neighborhood watches my dog while I'm gone. And so that gave our founder, Patty Moran, the idea of, that's a great service. How can I take that up a notch and really professionalize it and make it a quality service? And so she started her own pet sitting business in Winston-Salem, North Carolina in the early 80s.
Now, number one, something that caught my attention was she saw a need.
Mm-hmm.
And number one, she acted on a need. One of my favorite things is education without action is just entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
But the other thing you mentioned was she did that during the 80s, during a time which was rough. Hint, hint, what's going on right now.
Mm-hmm.
So for folks that think, hey, look, this is not a perfect time for me to maybe look at becoming a professional pet sitter or a professional dog walker, she did it during the 80s when basically it was not as I don't want to use the word professional as it is now, but that's the only way I can come up with it. As professional, and she built it up from the ground up. So have from what you folks see now, has the professionalism gone up where people treat this like a real business? And then second question, what do you, what does your organization do to help people that may want to get started into pet sitting and then dog walking business as well?
Absolutely. Great question. So when Patty started her business in the 80s, it was such a new concept. And so there wasn't really a groundwork for how to establish it as a professional service. And so this happened really organically. And I always love when we look at our history and how this came about. So as Patty worked to say, okay, I want to offer pet care services, but I want to do it the right way. What do I need? So she worked with a company in North Carolina to create the first ever insurance specifically for pet care businesses that addressed those needs. She looked at what types of business forms and contracts do I need. She looked at what type of education do I need. And she did that by herself because there was no one for her to reach out to at that time. But what happened over through that decade is that as her clients would travel to other parts of the country, they would tell their friends, I've got this professional pet sitting business back home that's caring for my dog or my cat. And so she started getting phone calls from around the country saying, hey, my friend told me about your business. What do I need to do this professionally? And so that led her to write a book called Pet Sitting for Profit, and then ultimately start this association. And so absolutely, when pet sitting as a career first started, Patty was having to sort of pave her own way and determine what do I need to make sure I'm offering the best care. But now for those who are coming into the industry in 2022, it's so much easier for a variety of reasons. That professional groundwork has been laid. So that benefits, the credentials that businesses need to offer this professionally is there through associations like Pet Sitters International. And then the other advantage is, 2 decades ago, even really just a decade ago, a lot of people didn't understand that professional pet care services were available. But now pet owners are familiar with the idea of professional pet sitters and professional dog walkers. And so business is just booming for those who are coming into the industry now.
And that's you said something that kind of hit as well. She had to pave the way. So, and I'm like this. I always like to say this thing. You want to learn from people that have actually been where you want to be taken out of, and then grown to where you want to go to.
Mhm.
And one thing that I noticed from looking at your website as well, there's a lot of training going on, certifications and things of that nature. So they don't have to do the leg work. It's
Mhm.
already been put together. So can you go over some of the training or the certifications that your organization provides?
Absolutely. So we like to say that Pet Sitters International gives business access to the credentials, the continuing education, and community that they need to succeed in this industry. So along those lines, when a business joins our association, they have access to group rate insurance that's designed specifically for pet sitting and dog walking businesses. We have free online trainings, free webinars that cover topics from pet health and behavior and pet safety to the business aspects of your taxes, marketing your business. There's a member magazine that's published 6 times a year. It includes pet health and behavior information, also those business tips and advice from other pet sitting businesses. But one of the unique and I would say most beneficial parts of our organization to me is that our members are able to network with thousands of other pet care businesses across the country and abroad. And so there's really no situation that a new pet sitting business can face that someone else hasn't already dealt with and come through and can offer that advice and support to help someone else take their business to the next level.
Now, with that, I know with COVID, a lot of things like the live events, especially like with us with Startup Grind, we normally have live in-house events where we get people in. But I took over this particular location right when COVID kicked off. So a lot of the live events have been limited. Did y'all provide live meetings together for people in your association? And if so, do you plan on starting those back up, or have you already started those back up?
We do. So we have an annual in-person conference, which we did have to go virtual for 2020 and 2021. We actually are resuming our in-person conference this year. So at the end of next month, September 30th through October 2nd, we're in Cleveland for our annual Pet Sitter World Conference. So we are able to resume those safely again. But during the past 2 years, we were in a really good position because we had already supplemented our in-person events with a lot of virtual training opportunities. So we were able to keep the education going online throughout the pandemic, but we are really excited to be able to come back together in person again.
Definitely, definitely. I know from me personally, dealing with digital marketing and entrepreneurship, it's always the meeting after the meeting where you get a lot of things. And what I mean by that is you go find other folks. I call it my tribe. You go find your tribe, and then you're able to get names and numbers, and you connect with each other, and you build relationships that help you out not only on the business side, but just on the you can call that person that's a pet sitter as well, who knows the troubles you're going through,
Mhm.
maybe the down months, the up months, whatever's going on, and you can be able to personalize and talk with them because you've met them at these types of events. So that's fantastic.
Yeah, that's
Now,
exactly what I tell our members. We put a lot of work into making sure we choose excellent speakers and excellent sessions. But I always am transparent and I say some of the best lessons you'll learn will be outside of those session
yeah,
times. When you're able to talk and develop those relationships because they're going to help you throughout the duration of your career and just in life. I mean, we've developed lifelong friendships at these events.
definitely. Now, I didn't even think about it. Maybe I'm crazy when I think about this, but networking wise, do you personally know of any folks that have come to these events that maybe have formed partnerships, either business wise or even maybe someone found a significant other at one of these events? Do you know of any of those during these
You know,
events?
we have had some dating stories. That's their story to share.
Okay, okay,
But what I do find, we've had a couple of marriages. But what I
okay.
do find even more frequently, we have, and I always love this too. We've had situations where we have members across the country, and we will have a conference, and we've had businesses come and find out that they were within 15 miles of each other, but
Wow,
never met until they went to a different state and met each other at our conference. And so they're able to go back home, refer to each other, and really build a local network to have more face-to-face time with someone else in the business. But absolutely, we have, and these are always some of my favorite situations, and I love to be a part of them too. We have members who will plan vacations outside of conference time to meet back up other times of the year.
wow.
Lots of them have group chats. They've also been able to form more local networks to meet in person more frequently, but just from the relationships that they've built at our annual conferences. And so that's so important to us.
Definitely. And another thing that I noticed when I was listening to you, one aspect that you mentioned was the training on the business side. What I found from working with entrepreneurs and business people is that you can be a great chef or a great baker, but you may if you don't have the proper tools and knowledge, you may not want to start that if you don't know the business side.
Mhm.
Because you can be great at baking a cake and be bad at business deals and completely mess it up. So the thing I love about what you just mentioned, so you guys, y'all actually help them with the business side to learn how to treat this and run it as a business. Can you go into a little more detail on that?
Absolutely, that's such an important point you make because we always try to stress that, especially to our new members, because most people come into this industry, professional pet sitting, dog walking, because they love pets and they want to make a career out of that. But loving pets and working well with pets doesn't automatically equal being a great pet sitting or dog walking business owner. And so we really work with our members on that to help acclimate them to the business world, what they need to know, the basics of running a small business, that would be true of any small business you may operate, but then also some specific situations that they'll encounter in the pet care business. You know, as I mentioned, there's special insurance. A lot of people don't realize that a general business liability policy would not cover pets in a pet care business. And that's something that someone getting into this industry may not know. We also see that, and this makes me laugh, but it is serious, that a lot of people, they love pets, but they don't realize that in pet sitting or dog walking, they deal with people so much. Those client relationships are so important. And so we do a lot of training on that as well, because a lot of people don't think about that when it comes to pet sitting and dog walking. So that's where we often see we have to offer our biggest support in our online trainings is more of that business aspect, because a lot of people come into the industry with a very strong pet care and animal health knowledge, but not those business skills they may need to really professionalize their service and help it to grow.
Yeah, and that's very important. And Perry, who, like I said, trained and spoke about your association, he didn't say it on this particular association, but he mentioned one of the great benefits of being a part of an association such as yours is the perks. He didn't mention your insurance, but I know a lot of times those insurances are very costly if you try to do it as an individual. But
Mhm.
if you're doing it as an or as a member of an association like yours, it could be such a big savings on that. So I don't know. You don't have to go into great detail, but as far as that, the benefits, and you mentioned insurance. What would you say the reason why that's a big discount or a benefit to the individuals that join your association?
Absolutely. A lot of times people come to us because the first thing they are looking for is insurance. So we were able to work. We work with a company also in North Carolina called Business Insurers of the Carolinas. And as I mentioned, our founder worked with them to create that first policy specifically for pet sitters. So our members are able to take advantage of a group rate, which offers a deep discount, which more than pays for their annual PSI membership. But even more than the discount is that they're able to work with an insurer that we vetted that completely understands our industry, and we know that they're providing the coverage that will cover the pets in the business's care. Also, a lot of people don't think about in terms of insurance. If you're a pet sitter going to a client's home, what if something happens inside their home? There's damage in the home by the pet. Regular insurance wouldn't cover that. So
Hmm.
definitely advantage of being in our association, not just the discount on insurance, but knowing that that coverage has been vetted for you and it really is customized for our industry. But I always like to point out that beyond insurance, which is so important, um, that ongoing education is important to make sure your business grows. So our members have access to a monthly member toolkit that includes those online trainings that we mentioned, special resources each month that they can use to work on their business. And then we also have those ongoing conversations with a private online community and that type of support. But definitely one of the biggest benefits of being in an association like ours, or I think an association for any industry, is that you are able to save yourself so much time and also save yourself from making so many mistakes when you can learn from the group and really get your business started off on a better path.
Yeah, yeah. And one thing, and you mentioned this prior to, was the actual training to, I guess, learn how to work with the you're the owner of the pet sitter or the dog walker, but you have to know how to work with people. So,
Mhm.
what type of training or certifications or anything of that nature do you guys have specifically for that?
So we offer a variety of online courses as well as a pet sitter certification. So
Okay.
there is a certified professional pet sitter designation that many people may not know about, but that is a federally trademarked credential that
Hmm.
pet sitters can earn. But within that credential, it's a knowledge assessed exam, but we cover both the pet care topics and the pet safety topics, as well as those business topics about offering customer service. We also offer a professional pet sitting as a career course for those who are just entering in the industry. And a large part of that course is that business side. So we talk about the training includes how to explain their services to clients, how to make sure that their communication is consistent and clear and effective when they're dealing with their clients, how to use a service contract so there's no confusion about what service they're providing and what they'll be offering, and also what the client expects. And so those are just a few of the topics. But then ongoing throughout the year, our members will come to us and say, I'm having this specific issue with a client. Can we talk through best practices of how to resolve that issue?
Mhm. And what I love about it is, and one of my best books that I read, it talks about in counsel there's protection,
Mhm.
and what it means by that, multiple people knowledgeable that can help you out. And as an individual, not just talking about pet sitting, but any individual that has their own business or side business or anything of nature, that I found that community is one of the best benefits of joining something like your association, where you've got the community where you can, because I'm a digital marketer and I'm
Mhm.
also a sales and marketing,
Mhm.
and some of my best, I hate to use the word best friends, but some of my best acquaintances are folks that I've met in some of these mastermind groups, some of these get meetups, some events and things of that nature. So if you were to do a, and I don't want to say pitch, but
Mhm.
if you were to, if we were at a Chamber of Commerce event
Mhm.
and someone walked up to you and said, I'm thinking about becoming a professional pet sitter. Um, what does your organization provide for you? What would you say to that individual? Now, y'all, your organization works for pet sitters and then also dog walkers, or is
Mhm.
it just the one? Okay.
Pet sitting or dog walking businesses fall under that umbrella. So if someone came to me to ask that question, first of all, I would say congratulations, because they are coming into the industry at a perfect time. During the pandemic, pet ownership has continued to increase. So the demand for pet care services is just growing by leaps and bounds. But in terms of if I had to pitch our organization, what I would, and I always try to be transparent with newcomers to the industry, and say that pet sitting is exciting. It's a very fulfilling career, but it also can be somewhat isolating if you're starting a business by yourself, but you don't have to go it alone. So PSI has helped more than 40 to 50,000 pet sitters over the last several years start and grow their own pet care businesses. And so when you come into this industry, there are lots of questions, but the good news is there are answers to those questions, and PSI can help put you in touch with those answers. So whether it's insurance you're looking for, whether it's how to determine your service area or what specific services to offer, or if you just have questions about how to get the word out there about your business, those are all questions that we can help our members find and navigate the answers for to make that work for their businesses.
Perfect. Now, I don't know if you can give up these numbers, but I love what I do. Um, I volunteer at church, but when I do my other thing, I want to get paid. So I
Mhm.
don't know if you can answer this question, but and you can give ranges from what your organization has seen, ranges. What could someone that takes this as a business, a serious business, and builds it as a business, and you can give ranges.
Mhm.
uh, what type of income potential, I don't
Mhm.
want to say potential, what
Mhm.
type of income potential can they um, maybe get from this?
Absolutely. No, I love to answer that question, because some people will ask us, can you really make a, first of all, they're excited they can get paid to do this. But then the next question is, can you really make a career out of this? And absolutely. Now, it is a range. So we do a survey every 2 years. And we did our survey right before the pandemic. We do a national average for income. So I will tell you that at that time, there is a wide range, because we have some members who intentionally have this as a very small boutique service. They're not looking to make a huge amount of money, but they want to offer a service in their local small area. And then we have members who have dozens of staff sitters. The national average prior to the pandemic was about 76,000 per year for our average member. But we have members, many businesses that are in the six figures, and there are pet sitting businesses that are in the multi-million in terms of annual revenues. And so it really does depend on the area in which you live, your service area, but how much you're willing to work on your business, and if you want to grow your business using staff.
Okay. Okay. And I never thought about. I didn't even know that you could. That's a great idea. Having well, what you just mentioned, maybe you started and then you build up staff and things of that nature. That is not a small amount of money for doing
It's
something that you
not.
love.
And what we're really seeing now is that I would say even a decade ago, a lot of the businesses were focused on the sole proprietor businesses. They were offering the service in their area, and then when they maxed out the business that they could take, they just sort of they stopped their service there. But the demand keeps growing, and so what we're really seeing now in our association are our members saying, I'm going to have to add staff because the requests keep coming in. And so we're really focusing on that with our members, how to properly vet staff, how to make sure they're in compliance, at the federal and state level with their employment practices. But definitely the need is there. And so for those who want to grow the business, using staff is the way to take it to the next level.
So once again, this is a real business, and I'm gonna say something. I messed up, and Beth probably knows what I'm getting ready to say. I said I actually contacted her, and I said this is a little hobby, little side gig, a little hustle. Beth was like, no, that is
We're the
not what this
opposite of that.
is.
Yeah, we're the opposite of that.
so,
But
so
it's a common perception that some people have, and so I was not offended by that at all, and I love the opportunity to clarify it. But as we do with the with the internet, which makes it so easy, we've all seen posts for people saying, "Hey, college student looking to earn extra money, I'll walk your dog." You see those types of requests in neighborhood groups, so I understand where that perception comes from. But no, pet sitting and dog walking is a viable career, and there are so many professional businesses who are doing this as their livelihood and are such a great option for pet owners.
and what made me think about this as well while you were talking, one of the guys that I met at an event, I don't personally know him, but his name is James Altucher. And James actually is a huge guy in the marketing field. He actually helped build the first HBO website, been in tech and all that. And I was listening to his podcast the other day, and he was talking about traditional education, meaning colleges. And let me start with this. My wife has is in education. She's has a master's in education, works at a school and admin, and is. I am not anti education when make this statement, but and you know what I just did? I said but so that negates everything else I said. But um, the figures that you gave for someone that starts and learns from a company like yours, your organization, the income potential from just a quick glance is probably, and I got to put a little caveat, the potential
Mhm.
seems like it could be more or just as much as if you were to go to a 4-year college and spend hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt and do something at a place that you don't even want to do it at. So
Mhm.
you spend all that debt, you get that job, and then you realize that you hate that job, but you still have that bill, and
Yeah.
you have the potential at I'm pretty sure nowhere, not pretty sure, I know not the hundreds of thousands of dollars, and start a real business that's providing a real service because our little four-legged baby is Marley. He's a multi-poo, and I know for a fact that he has been on this planet before as something else. So you're going to be giving service to people that have pets that are not pets. They are part of the family and make a good income. So do you see people, long statement, but do you see people that may have had that 4-year degree or like even your founder, corporate America, that spent the years, spent the money, and then all of a sudden said, well, let me see, I may want this and have gotten success or have been able to at least get the freedom. Have you heard the stories or have you seen it yourself or anything along those?
Absolutely. And so at this time now, we are, as pet sitting and dog walking, the industry grows in popularity. We are seeing sort of an increase in people who are coming directly into this occupation instead of college. But the vast majority of our members still are people who started this either they left their first career to do this. And so those are the stories that we see and hear all the time, and from a variety of backgrounds. I like to say, and this is true, we have our members come from all walks of life, but we've had everyone from teachers and nurses to veterinary professionals to a rocket scientist. That's the one that sticks out in my mind, who left their career to pursue this passion. There was a nun. We've had, so anything that you could, any type of career that you could think of, we've had people say, this is what I was doing. Either I just didn't feel fulfilled in that anymore, or I didn't feel maybe compensated in the way that I should. And so they've decided to take a chance and say, I have a passion for pets and I want to offer a helpful service. And I saw this and I really think that I can make this a career. And that's what they've done.
Definitely. That's awesome. That's awesome. Life is short, and I tell people all that. I know, especially we've seen that in the past 2.5 years with COVID, that
Mhm.
life can change in an instant forever. And if you can find something that you enjoy and that you're passionate about, and you can make money from it and make a livelihood, um, I I heard a long time ago it was a little story, but it said, "Hey, Dad, is $100,000 a lot of money?" And the dad said, yeah, until you make it. And sometimes if we just focus on the money and you're just doing something for the money and you don't love it, it really doesn't matter how much you make it. But if you can find something that you're passionate about and you're serving people and you can make a living and be able to support yourself, that's win-win for everyone. So I love that concept. I love the organization.
Yeah, absolutely. That's one of the why I'm so passionate about what we do as an association, because we're able to help people do that. But another thing that I really love, and we've really, I think this has become even more apparent during the pandemic, because as you said, it really reinforced the idea of, anything can happen. Am I living the life and do I have the career that I want? Pet sitting and dog walking can, number one, be very profitable, but there's also a flexibility there. And so what I love, and I'm seeing more and more members who say, okay, I'm a pet sitting business or I'm a dog walking business, but how can I really customize my business to make sure I'm leading the life that I want?
Yeah.
So we have, it's not a one size fits all. We have members who say, based on my schedule, I want to just focus on just cats and vacation care. We have businesses that focus on exotic pets. There are some of our members who just do daily dog walks, so their schedules during that midday while owners are at work, and they're able to have a very flexible schedule. So the pet sitting and dog walking industry is also very customizable
Mhm.
to how you want your schedule to be and how you want your life to be structured. And I
Yes.
think that's another big benefit that more and more of our members are really taking advantage of as they think about, I love this career, but how do I want my life to look and my day-to-day schedule to look?
Definitely, definitely. That's awesome. That's awesome. So once again, and I'm going to include, like I said, to everyone that's watching this live, we appreciate that. And to the replay, I will include more information about your organization, but spell it out because once again, I don't want people to type in pet sitter because when I did it beforehand, a lot of other stuff came up. So what's the website? And I'll include that in the show notes as well. But the
So
website.
the PSI website is petsit.com, petsit.com. And I do want to mention for anyone listening who may think, I'd like to learn a little bit more about this business. If you go to our homepage, we have a free ebook. It's 7 steps to starting a successful pet sitting business. So take advantage of that. Or if you think maybe you're not interested in starting a business, but you could use the services of a pet sitter or dog walker, we also have a free search on our website, the Pet Sitter Locator. You
Okay.
can type in your zip code and see the profiles of our members that service your area. But all of that is at petsit.com.
Perfect. Yeah, we're getting ready to take another trip. I think in a few months or around the holiday season. So
Mhm.
I will definitely do that to find someone that can put up with Marley.
And I would say contact the pet sitter early because they
Okay.
book up well in advance. So if it's for the holidays, I would start your search now.
Good point. Yeah, that's where we messed up. And when you're talking about early, we're not talking about 2 weeks. You're talking about like 2 months beforehand.
2 months. And I would say that also, if you are a pet parent looking for your pet sitter, on our locator, we also have an interview checklist. So you can
Okay.
ask this, gives you questions to ask to make sure, am I using a professional pet sitter? Do they have the qualifications that I need them to have? And that's a free download for pet owners on our site.
Awesome, awesome. And just to kind of chime in too, I know you mentioned the book, and I think it's the same one. Perry even mentioned years ago he actually got that book as well. So
Okay.
years ago. So, like I said, I found out about your organization from him on one of his trainings, Perry Belcher. So, great organization. Once again, folks, if you're out there and of course, this is startup grind. So, this is for people that are entrepreneurs. Either you do this full time or part time, and you have a passion for pets. those fur babies, and you want to get started, this is definitely one of the top associations. 1994, probably it's been open longer than some of y'all that are watching this.
Mhm.
So you definitely want to go in there, check out the information, download the free downloads, look at the stuff. And for everyone that has a pet baby, then you definitely want to go on there. So, Beth, I appreciate you taking time out of your schedule. And I will never, ever, 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 ever call this a gig. This is a true profession, not a gig. And I appreciate you taking time, and your whole organization for reaching out to me and staying on top of everything when I requested the information. So I appreciate you.
Thank you so much. It was my pleasure.
All right.